move completely on Navy, just your thoughts on the FAU game. Y'all clearly have plans to execute some things. How do you think y'all did it?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Conrad. I mean, that's really impressive. Five field goals, 40 yards plus. Just what an amazing job he did. But I'm really proud of our guys going down there in a stadium we're familiar with from a year ago, and the way we played, and getting after those guys and doing things we did. I think they did a really good job of keeping Western in check. I think he's leading the NCAA in receptions, and I think up until the last drive he had like 3 of them. So just a really good job by our defensive guys, just knowing where he's at, paying attention to him, trying to get hands on him, disrupting him, and at the same time, those disruptions out wide gives us a chance to get after the quarterback inside, which led to about 5 sacks inside, I believe. So just thought that was a really good job of those guys executing and playing hard and playing their tails off.
You always want to move on to the next game, but when you have the option coming up, does that make it that much easier to move on quickly?
It definitely does. And we've been preparing for Navy really all season. You go back in preseason camp, you spend time every day on them. For the first couple of weeks of preseason camp, just getting ready for a different type of offense. We try to relate it to our kids as much as possible that, hey, the dive under center is the same as inside zone in the gun. If they pull and pitch it, that's the same as toss or the same as a stretch play. So we try to relate it as much as possible, but at the same time, the option forces you to be very disciplined and be great, have great fundamentals, great first steps, great eye execution, all those type of things. Then we've been practicing every Sunday night for about the past month, really. So, our guys are familiar with what we want to do. They're familiar with the system. They're familiar with their offense. And now you're full-time diving into it. So certainly it helps put FAU to bed really quick, and you hop on Navy right away. You always say the 24-hour rule, but definitely this week it certainly is. You got to get right to Navy.
Getting 5 sacks last week, do you feel like you kind of unlocked something, or kind of how repeatable is that moving forward?
I don't know if it's repeatable this week. If we're making Navy throw the ball, I think that's probably a good thing. So that would be, a positive there. And if we end up with 5 sacks this week, I'd be fired up. And but yeah, I think it's part of it's just numerous things. We always say it takes everybody. It takes a secondary to cover their guys up and get hands on and be disruptive, and throwing lanes with underneath coverage guys, and then guys up front winning their one-on-one battles and coming free, and at the same time you get to the backfield, you got to have a chance to get the quarterback on the ground too. So I think it was a good team effort, and those are things that we hope to replicate in the future.
A lot of experience coming back on defense and seeing this scheme before, but how do you get the new guys to kind of buy in and not have dirty eyes or bite too early?
That's the key, right? And I think not just against this offense, but every offense. Going back to Tulane a couple of weeks ago, they had a lot of shifts, motions, trades. They're going to show you one thing pre-snap, show you another thing post-snap. Navy's very similar. They're going to show you a new formation of the week or a new play of the week. They're going to give you a lot of eye candy, and so you got to be very disciplined. So we've had that carryover from week to week. They may be under center and show you a little bit more 3-back formations. And then we got some guys. Jonathan Jones was transferred in, but he's played against it before. So we have some guys that have played against these type of offenses, maybe not Navy, but these type of offenses before. So there would be some carryover there.
For you, their OC obviously are on the same staff.
So yeah.
How interesting is that? I'm sure there's a little bit of between you guys.
Yeah, Coach Chestnut was awesome to me when we first moved to Atlanta. Just me and my family. I think my daughter and his daughter went to school together. His wife and my wife became good friends. And he has 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters. So they all became friends. And we go hang out at their house. And he's really special to me, and really appreciate everything he did for me. And just his friendship and continued friendship, and not only him, Tommy Laurendine, we worked with him at Lenore Ryan, know him and his family really well, and his wife, Shauna, and his daughters. There's a lot of carryover. We talk about Coach Newberry, Coach Volker, Brent Wimberly, GA'd for us at Kennesaw. He's now the linebackers coach there. So there's, very familiar with their staff. They're probably very familiar with us. It's be exciting to see those guys and catch up. But in between the game, between the 60 minutes there, it'll probably be a chess match and go at it a little bit. So we can have bragging rights at the end of the day. So it's just, but all those guys are good people, and that's, they're all really good ball coaches, but I think they're all better men, and just respect the heck out of them and the job they do.
do you enjoy going against them come game day, or is it kind of like stressful when you're facing somebody you know so well in that regard?
I think it's the stress part is more just the offense. You know, obviously those guys knowing you and being familiar with you, that does stress you out a little bit. And you knowing how good of coaches they are and how good of a job they do. Coach Ashley with that O-line, Coach Jasper, you know, he's been around this thing for a long time, and just experience they have. So what you're up against is not just some rookie coaches. You know, they're guys that's been in this offense for 20 plus years, and that's the stress factor of it. You know, and then I think just knowing familiar faces on the other sideline doesn't really add it to it. Just the experience and respect you have for those guys at the job they do.
How much of a challenge is it, like that environment? They have the core on the field and everything, like on top of the distractions for you and your staff, keeping the kids focused.
You know, I always thought when I was at the Citadel and we had the core and the visiting team came in, that'd be intimidating for the visiting team, and maybe it was. And I don't know. Our guys or myself, I don't think much of it now. When we go up there, I think it's a pretty cool environment, really cool experience to be there and be in that environment and what those young men represent and what they will do for our country one day. You know, hats off to those guys and respect the heck out of them. But as far as, between those 60 minutes in between the game, I think our guys are locked in on doing their job, playing their assignment, playing their key, playing fast, playing physical, playing our culture, and try to bring a win home for our program.
They've been doing more shotgun at times this year, so what different challenges does that create as opposed to what they do under center?
Yeah, I think last year they showed us about 3 or 4 formations, and this year he's got about 15 different formations, whether it be in the gun or under center. I think last year our total focus was under center, and we saw a little bit of gun last year, but I think this year you have to split those things up. You take a little bit of, hey, this is similar to what our offense does, or this is similar to this opponent for the gun stuff. So your main focus is under center, and you spend a lot of time there, and just all the different things they can do under there, the midline, the veer, the speed options, the play action passes, the traps, whatever it may be. So that's your main focus because that's the new stuff to our guys. But it does create, hey, they're not just one-dimensional. They can get in the gun. They can do some different things, which I'm not sure that was totally their package in the past. I think that's where they expanded on it and have created some more things.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate y'all.